Hi, I'm Keith Devlin, the instructor on this course on mathematical thinking. I'm delighted that you've registered for the course, and I hope you stick with it for the whole 7 weeks. The purpose of this introductory video is to introduce my two team members that have worked with me on putting the course together and will be helping me on keeping the things rolling as we get into the material. They're both graduate students from the Stanford School of Education. I have my teaching assistant, Paul France, and my research associate, Molly Bullock. So Paul, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Sure. Hi, my name is Paul Franz. I'm a second-year PhD student in the School of Education here at Stanford University. I'm in the Learning Sciences and Technology Design program. Before I was at Stanford, I worked in Honolulu, Hawaii, in a small nonprofit teaching science to at-risk and high-risk teenagers. I went to St. John's College as an undergraduate. I also hold a master's degree in education from Stanford, and I'm really excited to be TAing for this course.
Like Paul, I am also a second-year student in the Learning Sciences and Technology Design program here at Stanford. I have a dual specialization in that in addition to curriculum studies and teacher education. Prior to coming to Stanford, I was a teacher and a teacher coach for 5 years of at-risk students both in Massachusetts and in California. I was an educator of mathematics and science for elementary and middle school students.
Okay, thank you, Molly. So you're all here because you want to learn about mathematical thinking, and you're probably a little bit apprehensive about something new in mathematics. Let me tell you that we're apprehensive too. For you, it's going to be a new experience. You're going to get a new perspective on mathematics. But it's all new for us because none of us been involved in a course like this before. In fact, hardly anybody has been involved in giving a course like this before. And for that reason, we're not just putting a course together, we're also setting out to learn how to give courses like this, how to give better ones in the future, and learn how people learn in a MOOC. And that's really one of the things that Molly's going to be focusing on as this course goes forward. So Molly, why don't you tell us a little bit about the research that you're expecting to do once we get underway?
So this project is an exploratory research venture, and our goal is simply studying the complex teaching and learning that can happen in a learning environment such as a MOOC. In this venture, we're really interested in the types of learners who are registering and completing the MOOC, the types of learning interactions that go on, and really the nature of learning that happens in this new online environment.
Yeah, it's worth mentioning, I think, that we're not regarding you, the students, as guinea pigs. We realise you're here to learn something about mathematical thinking. So this is a very non-invasive study. We're just going to be looking mainly at the statistics that the platform gathers as you do the work. So there'll be a little questionnaire at the beginning we'd like you to fill in, and then there'll be another questionnaire at the end we'd like you to fill in. But your focus is going to be entirely on learning the material. And for those of you that don't want to be participants in the data gathering at all, you're not obliged to. We'd like you to do it, but there's no compulsion to be part of that data gathering. You can opt out if you want to. So Paul, you've been helping me put this course together. We've been talking about how to put the various mechanisms in, how to make it work. I guess the really interesting question, I think, is you volunteered for this role. What was it about this particular course that persuaded you wanted to devote what's turned out to be many hours of your life in putting this thing together?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think that mathematics is something that I've always been interested in. I'm definitely in my own research getting interested in doing a lot of statistical work and advanced learning analytics work, and a big part of doing that kind of work is having a good understanding of the way to think about those kinds of questions. And that's not something that's purely algorithmic. It's not something that's purely about, knowing what the right equations are and plugging in answers. It's all about developing a really good sense of what questions to ask and how to formulate those questions and how to go about demonstrating that what you found is meaningful and that what you have is good evidence. So all that kind of thought process is really kind of near and dear to, I think, all researchers, and it's something that I care a lot about. And I think a really important starting point for learning that kind of thinking is this kind of course where you're thinking, mathematically and thinking really rigorously about language and how language is used in mathematics and what mathematics really means.
Okay, so Molly, what attracted you to be part of this course?
So for me, after years of teaching mathematics and science to elementary and middle school teachers and also working with high school teachers, on coaching kids towards best practices in mathematics in the classroom, I really see this transition to college math as a very important gateway for students interested in careers in science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. And what happens too often without a transitionary course is when students who are interested in math for all of high school get to their very first college mathematics course, it shuts them down and it denies them access to continue on the pathway that they really feel passionate about. So having a course that's a transition course that teaches you how to think about mathematics the way a mathematician does is very important to the future of STEM in our country and in the world.
One of the things that's different for me is I've been teaching mathematics all my life. I used to just go into a classroom on my own. I used to plan the course, give the exam, and apart from some student evaluations at the end, it was just me. But once I sort of started to think about how do you put together a course that hundreds of thousands of people can take around the world that's all automated, I realised that the days when one person could do it were probably gone. I needed different kind of expertise. I needed experts in learning sciences, in pedagogy, in curriculum design. I needed people like Paul and Molly to come along and help buttress my own knowledge. So the game has changed for people like me, for the professoriate, just as much as it's changed for the students, many of whom, through a MOOC, are getting their first ever experience of a university education. And one of the things that was important to me in putting together this course was it was going to be what you see is what our students get. So if you find you don't like it, you can console yourself in the fact that that's what Stanford students pay a lot of money to get each year. Okay, we look forward to having you with us during the rest of the course. The three of us will be monitoring your progress as we go through the next 7 weeks. I'll see you in the first lesson.